One thing that's always annoyed me about Huntress is her pallet break animation. Use your axe! There's also this weird thing where you can't heal after unhooking right away. You have to both wait a moment or do a little shuffle to get the prompt. It's really annoying, but you know, it's not that bad. It's just more, why is that there? Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be covering lots of small things in the game that I find to be irritating or annoying. These are not huge problems, but just small nitpicks that bother me every now and then. Please don't take this too seriously, none of this stuff really affects my enjoyment of the game or anything. This is the embodiment of pettiness in a video. Lore inaccessibility is a bit of a nitpick for me, because really it doesn't affect the game much, however I do find it a little annoying. The main issue is just that the lore is best accessed by means of the wiki, which is almost a shame. In the game itself, the lore is quite difficult to find, especially tomes for specific characters. The other part of this is that you have to unlock the lore entries individually, which is just a bit of a hassle, and it's all fairly unclear what you're unlocking and how it fits together when browsing the tomes. I just wish it was clearer and documented better once unlocked, a bit like it is in the wiki. One recent-ish change I just don't really understand or like is that your level is now hidden. It's only viewable by pressing on your player card in a menu. It just seems even more pointless than before. It doesn't really do anything else aside increment and give you some iridescent shards. It's not even visible really anymore without going out of your way to see it, so I just don't get its purpose, I suppose. The Shrine of Secrets is useless once you've gotten everything is a weird nitpick, I understand. The Shrine's purpose after all is for people who are leveling and unlocking perks still, but I do wish it did something beyond that or provided something for long-term players. I've always liked the idea that Shrine perks are buffed in some way for the week, encouraging some variety in builds and usage of niche perks. A nitpicky nitpick for sure on that one. Seasonal cosmetics are something I don't really understand. To give an example, you can't buy the Krampus until it's winter typically. It's not in the store for most of the year. It also doesn't make much sense with the dev's seeming view on limited time cosmetics, so I don't really get the purpose of this. It doesn't even clog up the store because the store is already incredibly full. I mean, look at Trapper's page where Krampus would be. Would that really make much of a difference having like one skin? Maya's power has this annoying feature where he can run out of stalk completely. Once he's stalked every survivor a certain amount, he just can't do it anymore. I don't see this as a huge issue as it rarely happens that you stalk everyone completely, but I do think it just shouldn't be an issue at all. The fact you can use your power so well or enough that it just stops working seems a little silly. A small nitpick I have for power descriptions is that they often just don't include a full description of what the power's capability is. I think it's fine to have a simpler breakdown, especially with so many complex powers, but it would be nice to have somewhere a breakdown or just a bullet point list even, of the full list of features of the power. For example, with Maya's it doesn't mention you can stalk everyone too much and no longer have your power. It's not like you need this to play him, but it'd be nice to know from somewhere, right? Killer bots in customs would be nice. We have it in the tutorial, so I'm not sure why we can't in customs. Even if we could only select the trapper, I don't mind, it'd just be a nice feature to have to test or just look around maps as Survivor. Achievements which require lots of something is really nitpicky, I know. Basically this is about achievements that release and you have to do some sort of weird or trivial thing a lot of times, like this one getting you to heal in the basement. I just reached that perfect 100% achievement completion and then that pops up and I just sigh a bit. See, I told you these were really nitpicks, the lowest of problems. Let's take a quick break from nitpicking so I can talk to you about G Fuel, who I'm partnered with, and the current Fearfest buy one get one free event going on. G Fuel is game-changing energy and available in over 50 different flavors, with there even being some limited Halloween editions. The Fearfest also features flavors inspired by many IPs you'll surely recognize, such as Ghostface, Resident Evil, and A Nightmare on Elm Street. There's something for everyone and a wide variety of really great flavors. Dream Demon is one of my personal favorites, being a tart fruit punch. Be sure to check it out over at gfuel.com and use code AZZY or my link below to support the channel too. You can't get onto this table anymore. In fact, invisible walls are a bit of a nitpick for me. I don't hate them or anything, I just find them disappointing like I do in most games. I line up a cool hatchet shot or a demo shred and then feel disappointed when it hits against nothing or slams into nothing. Not having them makes the game more free and creative in my opinion, and I'd like to see them return, or not return, removed. Cosmetic clipping or cosmetics with strange features. This is a bit of a loaded one. Recently there was this new Deathslinger cosmetic which bothered me quite a bit. It just makes me question if this went through any form of testing, because how do you release it like this? It sounds a bit harsh, but I do think it's a little silly it released like this. It was fixed now too, which is great, and they fixed it very quickly. Again, I'm nitpicking. Other examples are just outfits clipping through the character model. It's just a little irritating to look at. It'd be nice if all the cosmetic characters would retain a the name for the killer side. I get that it's a little clunky sometimes with names like the Naughty Bear, but I do like the naming scheme or rule overall, and would like to see it throughout. It's a bit like when they had just Ghostface as the Ghostface. It was a bit annoying that he was the only one with 2 names, but now there's a bunch of characters that have that, so it's not really an issue anymore. It was more just that he stood out before. Teeny nitpick for Blight. For his purple skin, it'd be cool if the vial was purple instead of orange, similar to the vials around his waist. Then for Birkin, it'd be cool if it was blue like the T-Virus. Give Victor a little hat or customizable item for each cosmetic. He is technically a power, I get it, but come on, give the twins a win. Give them something. On a similar note, it's a shame Wesker doesn't have a line that plays after 7 minutes passing in game. Like, I don't know, 7 minutes. 7 minutes is not all the time I had. I don't know, I'm not sure. But a line would be nice. Or maybe him just sounding sad, like, I failed, or something like that. I don't know what I'm talking about. Artist has no crow perks, which is all I have to say. I know I yap on about that a lot. Everyone's probably bored of me talking about the crow perk thing. Clown's butterfly knife is not a butterfly knife. The escape cake is a lower rarity than the individual category green BP offerings, and the bloody party streamers are the same rarity as the individual ones too. Only screams too much in the lobby. Iridescent add-ons are very inconsistent. It'd be nice if they had more of a consistency when it came to their purpose and power level. Add-on consistency in general is something not too present in the game, this being consistency across the tiers of add-ons. For example, Ghostface I would debate has some of his best add-ons as commons, whereas someone like Wraith it'd be his Iridescence. It'd be nice if it was just a bit more uniform across the board, and add-ons generally reflected their power based on rarity. Luck is a mechanic that bothers me a bit because it's never really been all that useful, simply providing a higher self-unhook chance. It did have some old mechanics too, but they got removed. I just wish something would be done with it, especially as luck is something you could really go just about anywhere with. It'd be nice if it got adjusted and given something a little more substantial. Secret offerings are sort of weird in terms of what the point of them is. For the killer side, it's either a shroud or a mori, and as a lot of times the shroud is debatably a direct counter to yourself, it means most times it's a mori, making it also sort of pointless to be secret. I guess my point is, it would make more sense to just remove the secret thing, or to alternately add more secret offerings. Hard-hitting issues here, I told you. Nurse's lore inconsistency is a bit annoying. Her base lore presents her one way, and her tome another way. I just wish they'd decide which is canon or pick one. I do have a preference, but I don't mind either way. I just wish it was consistent. Some link sets are a bit frustrating because they feel like they don't have to be, and each piece would work alone. I understand for licenses maybe, they have to keep them as a set per their rules, but even for some originals, I don't get it really. It'd be nice if Wraith's clapper add-ons actually changed what the clapper looked like in the trials, like the coxcombed and the bone clapper. On a similar note, with something like Iridescent Head for Huntress, it'd be nice if it actually changed the hatchets to this shape. I get this would take a silly amount of time to make these different models for just one add-on, but that's why it's a nitpick video. I never thought I'd say this, but it sort of bothers me how untextured Maya's feet are. Why do they put that? They look like they've been molded out of clay with them sticking together like that. Let's just pretend I didn't mention that. There's this annoying thing with Hag where when you teleport you sort of freeze for a few seconds and can't move. That's mildly annoying. I wish there was some kind of reference to chess in Doctor's lore to explain why he has the chess piece add-ons. I think it's just a reference to his intelligence, but it would be nice if this was more central. It'd be nice if Freddy's pallets could simply be an option when selecting his power. If they have to be separate from snares, let them be selectable so you can still run 2 add-ons with pallets. I wish Deep Wound could be healed faster. It's really long and boring. I wish we had more loadouts. There's this slight visual bug when you switch between the lobby and the store at the edge of the screen, which is a little annoying. You cannot find Azarov's body on the Azarov's resting place map, despite it being named after him and focusing on him. You'd think it'd be a key part of the map, but it's not there. There's some add-ons that are just sort of completely useless, like the Jaw Smasher add-on for Slayer. It's a nitpick because really it's like a handful of add-ons that are this bad, and there's nearly 800, so I think it's fair to call it a nitpick. We're talking add-ons that do literally near to nothing. There's this weird bug in custom games where the animation looks a bit weird. Lots of the item grab animations are sort of weird, like look at Laurie here who's holding the medkit only by it being fused to her thumb, and keys are just The existence of the airlock doors annoys me a bit too, because how on earth are they being burned on the campfire? I wish we had some kind of reward for reaching Prestige 100. These shoes are way too small for Skull Merchant, or even the Survivors for that matter. In the postgame screen, the rocks in the background get covered by a fog a bit too quickly and jankily. Perk Tiers are just a little bothersome, aren't they? It's just a bit outdated, I think, having these weaker versions of perks that essentially only serve the purpose of bloating the grind. Ada's main outfit is her one from Resident Evil 2, but in her lore she seems to get taken out of Resident Evil 4, which doesn't make much sense. Another thing I find bothersome is the lore entries that are really short. Even if it's for a licensed character, I just wish they'd be given more freedom. Like here it's just a short entry where it just describes the character. It's just a shame. I assume it's a licensing thing though, but I'm not sure. So there's all the ones I could think of. They're quite jumbled and random, but I was sort of just thinking of everything that mildly bothered me. Maybe I can do a follow-up of all of your nitpicks. Let me know down below. And by the way, I have made a new channel called AZHYMOVS. Very inspired name, I know. It's a channel where I talk about games and lore for long periods of time, to hopefully assist you in falling asleep. First video is up there, and is over an hour's worth of me yapping about DBD theories, so check it out if you're interested. Thanks, and goodbye.